I'm sorry for only getting to this topic now instead of when it actually happened within the same day, because I originally was going to put this into Nintendo news, but I just didn't like it. Being completely honest with you, the recording was kind of doo-doo garbage, and by the time it was done, everyone else had kind of already talked about everything within it and to a much better level than I had. So, instead, let's talk just the Mario movie part of that, and to a much larger level than I did in the Nintendo news. Announced via a tweet that read like a poop post, good old Miyamoto man was like, hey, me was talking to Chris-san and we've delayed the film. Yeah, Mario movie's been delayed. The film is going to come out on the 8th of April next year, I think in America, and the 27th of April next year in Japan. So yeah, the film's practically another year away. Isn't that just swell? Now, you might be wondering, why is there still a whole lot of video left after that? I mean, it doesn't seem like too advanced or too large of a thing to say. Well, I'm going to be talking about why I think they might have done this. There's always a reason for delays, so I want to try and guess what said reason is. So, let's get into that. Recently, I finally got around to watching the second Sonic movie, and yeah, no, it was pretty enjoyable. This one felt a lot more like a actually Sonic movie, rather than just a movie that just so happened to have Sonic in it, unlike the first one. I mean, Tails, Knuckles, talking about the echidnas, the Master Emerald, all that being in the film, definitely does point towards it being more Sonic fan-oriented. And that's not even including two things that weren't shown off in the trailers that I'm not going to discuss here, because I don't want to spoil the film for you. Well, it's not really a spoiler per se, but still. I believe the film has now gone on to do exceptionally well, and by exceptionally, I mean it's now the highest grossing video game movie of all time, I think. At least in America. Okay, no, yeah, it was just everywhere. So, Nintendo's reason number one for the potential delay is that they could be very afraid. I mean, a film that has done this well commercially and this well when it comes to public opinion, you're bound to start quaking in your boots. It's very clear at this point that Nintendo does not want this to be a flop. I mean, the fact that they are delaying the film shows that they do care about it a fair amount, and also how long they've been seemingly working on it. So, they do not at all want to squander their opportunity by putting it in the same year as the Sonic movie 2. Maybe it's because they believe you can't have two of these major franchises getting movies in the same year, because then people might get confused or go, well, I've already seen one of them this year, so I don't need to see the other. I don't think that'd be the case. I mean, that was a sequel to the first Sonic movie, and this would be A, coming out in the second half of the year instead of the first, and B, an entirely different experience because it's Mario's first jump into film since, the really terrible one from back, I think World it came out at that point? Yeah, it had. Or, it could also be because they've seen how well the film's doing and all that and went, our film just doesn't compare. You don't want to be upstaged by Sonic, which is seen a lot of the time as a laughingstock. I mean, come on, with 06, with Forces, they've had so many bad games over the years that people have laughed at, so to have Mario, the big one that people respect, fail to that? Now, if it is this, what changes are they going to make to the movie? From all the leaks that we've seen and how long the movie's been in development and when it was announced, we can probably assume that it's a fair bit along by now. Most of the story details being ironed out and a lot of animations probably being done, so how far are they going to go with changes here, if this is the reason why they've delayed it? And also, what changes are they going to make? As I said earlier, Sonic Movie 2 felt a lot more like a Sonic film. It had a lot of small references and stuff like that to the older games, and just the games in general from the franchise, so maybe Nintendo feels that they might need to put some of those in. Small references, small foreshadowing, stuff like that to future games in the franchise. Well, not really future. I'm assuming this film is going to be a whole origin story, like a lot of leaks are saying, so it would be foreshadowing to future games if we're going off of order, I guess. Or maybe they're going to go more in depth with it. Maybe they're going to change who the villain is. Right now, it very much is going to be Bowser. Even without looking at leaks, there's a very, very high chance that that's who the villain's going to be, so maybe they're going to try and shake that up. I mean, they've delayed the film to, as I said earlier, 11 months. There is an 11-month window between now and when the film actually releases. You can get a lot done in 11 months. Especially when your company is big as Nintendo, working with a company as big as Illumination. Illumination makes so much money, and they're only about to rake in so much more with the new Minions film. Speaking of the new Minions film, it's not uncommon to see films be advertised and stuff alongside other films by the same company. When you're a company that makes so many films, it's almost inevitable for ones to overlap each other. However, this isn't exactly the case for Illumination Animation. Except for The Secret Life of Pets 1 and Sing, every single one of their films has released in a different year, with some films even having a 2-year gap from the last one. Now, why is this important? Well, one big thing about the Mario movie is that it would be coming out 6 months after the Rise of Gru. That isn't really a big thing, but still. Now, why is this important? Well, you see, when a film is coming up to release, within the last month of it, you're going to want to do a lot of advertising for it. The big issue being, Minions Rise of Gru comes out in July 1st. Now, you know what happens in June? E3, baby! I know it's been cancelled, but I still feel like Nintendo's going to do a presentation of some sort. And E3 seems like the perfect time where you would show off a trailer for the Mario movie. You know, all eyes are going to be watching, you might as well show something. But of course, this is within 1 month of Minions Rise of Gru, which is an issue. So, either they would move the movie trailer to after Rise of Gru comes out, which is its own issue, as by that point there's only, 5 or 4 months till the film's original release date, which is still a good amount of time to build hype, and technically we did have that in September when the whole cast was announced, but it still isn't too long. Or you could have the two trailers side by side, but that mixed together with all of the other forms of advertising, such as YouTube ads or on buses and walls and all that kind of stuff, you wouldn't want to have the two films kind of clashing with each other, because that leaves Illumination with either trying to support one more or the other more. Even if they didn't know and tried to do them both equally, one would get some more coverage than the other. Like how people would be talking a lot more about the Mario movie trailers than Minions Rise of Gru when it comes out. So maybe the two companies decided that it would be wiser for them to push the film's release date to a bit further on. That way they could delay the trailer till after Minions Rise of Gru comes out, but still leave a good enough time for hype to build around and for advertisements to be slowly put up. While this is definitely annoying from a consumer standpoint, it makes 100% sense when it comes from a business standpoint, which at the end of the day, that's what these two companies are. I'm sorry, my bad, I clearly did this. Now, this reason is maybe the least likely, or maybe I've hit the nail on the head here and it's exactly what the reason is. I don't know, Nintendo doesn't even know, nobody does. A lot of leaks surrounding the Mario movie have come out recently. Like, a lot of them. You know, covering all websites, 4chan, even Reddit, Twitter. All platforms are getting a lot of Mario movie leaks that fall in line with each other in a very strange way. Not only that, but recently a leak was actually taken down by Nintendo, which covered a lot of the stuff that I talked about in my previous 2 Mario leak videos, which you should go watch, by the way. Though, let's be honest, if you're watching this one, you definitely have watched those 2. Anyway. So Nintendo are definitely aware of the fact that the film is getting leaked, and, if that leak is true, that a lot of it has been leaked. So maybe, just maybe, so, there you go. Do you think my theories are correct? Do you think they're wrong? Do you have your own one? Do you think maybe there is no reason behind it and they just went, hey, wouldn't it be funny if you made the wait longer? Who knows? Leave a comment, whichever one you think, or if you don't think at all, leave a comment saying poopy. Like this video if you want to come back to it, you know, maybe one day in the future where Nintendo actually announces why they delayed the film and then go, oi, he was right, or whoa, he was way off the mark there, buffoon. Subscribe if you've watched a couple of my videos at this point. I mean, if you've watched a couple, you want more. Or you hate yourself. 50-50 chance. Either way, do consider it. And yeah, that's about everything. Bye-bye! See, it's funny, because that's what Mario says when you close the DS when playing New Super Mario Bros.